Hello and welcome to another episode of NXT UK Weekly on Powered 4 TV, exclusively on the podcast channel, of course, of Powered 4. And I'm joined, as always, by my good buddy, my good pal. He may not be Mr. WrestleMania, but he's definitely Mr. Powered 4 in my eyes, John Scott. So, John, great to be speaking to you again. Another great week of NXT UK to be talking about. But how's your week been and how you doing?
Yeah, another great intro, I think, from you. So I'll take that. That's for sure, Mr. Powered. Yeah, the week's been good, mate. I've been busy as always, but in a good way. Lots to talk about. Got some good stuff coming up on the show as well from Powered 4 point of view. I want everybody to stick around for a special promotional code that you can listen out for a little bit later on in the show after we play one of our videos. I will give that out and announce exactly what that is. But yeah,
cool. Yeah, give us a bit of a rundown. I mean, there's quite a few things dropping on the site over the next few days, John.
Yeah, we've had SOS, one of our wrestling that's on the actual free to see, has dropped their latest show from September. So I encourage everybody to go and check that out. And whilst you're there, you can have a little mooch around on the platform, see what else is available, of course. And of course, we've dropped another 1PW event this week as well, which was the second year anniversary. And these 1PWs, they always surprise me just how good some of the cards were back then. I'll give a few matches away here. Scorpio. Of course, the legendary Scorpio, for those that remember him, has a match with Martin Stone, the UK's Martin Stone, one of my favourites from back in the day.
Danny Burch in NXT.
Yes, Danny Burch indeed,
yeah.
Who looks very different in this. I mean, it's amazing to see the evolution of Martin Stone / Danny Burch, because he did come a long way. In his career. So that's a really good match there. We've also got the 1PW open weight title, which is an Iron Man match, 45-minute Iron Man match between Darren Burridge and Nigel McGuinness. Wow. Of course, the now NXT UK announcer. Again, amazing to see. He was the current Ring of Honor champion at the time as well. So well worth checking that out. And also the headliner of the match as well happens to be in a steel cage match. Again, I have to say this, we didn't get too many of these in the UK, steel cage matches. So these kind of things,
special.
Yeah, these kind of things were kind of like, you chewed somebody's arm off to go and watch it. But it was the current 1PW World Heavyweight Champion Ulf Herman up against Sterling James Keenan. Which was a great match. So I really encourage people to go over and check that out. Of course, it's a massive card. The show is around 4 hours, so you really get your money's worth when you sign up. Obviously, sign up. Don't forget, hold on for my promo code. Don't sign up just yet, because you're going to want the promo code, because it's going to give a nice discount, I feel. There's a little sneak preview to this for everything you're going to get. So yeah, all the 1PW archives will be dropping every Wednesday. Of course, we've got the latest episode from our own William Eva. Life Layers. If you want something a little bit different, something a little bit out there,
they are interesting. Yeah,
go for Life Layers. There's nothing else. I'll guarantee you this much: there's nothing else out there like it. You really get a nice. If you get to that stage, sometimes, like even when I'm on like other streaming devices, like I don't know, WWENetwork or Netflix. If I've been watching too many films or too many series, I just need a break. This is kind of like the perfect escape down a rabbit hole type scenario. It's kind of like being on YouTube. You start watching one video and you end up at somewhere you never thought you were.
6 hours later.
Exactly. This is that. But yeah, so loads on there. Encourage everybody to go over to powered4.tv, check it out, and don't forget, halfway through this show, we'll be giving away a very nice promo code, so stick around for that.
Stay tuned for that. Definitely. And one thing, a quick cheap plug for myself as well, because
ahead,
it might not be what you think it is, but I interviewed Kim Artlett, the owner, the founder, the promoter of Ignite Wrestling over in Florida. That's one of, if not the newest wrestling promotion to come on board powered4.tv. And my interview with Kim, it drops on Sunday afternoon, nice. UK time. roughly about 3 o'clock in the afternoon UK, 10 a.m. Eastern over in the States. You've got to catch that to hear all about the rise of Ignite Wrestling over in Florida, how it all came about, some of its biggest stars. We talk about its champions and the future of Ignite, and they've got a return show planned, which we talk about as well on the video format to the podcast format, and that'll be dropping, like I say, on audio and over on our YouTube channel where you're watching this on Sunday afternoon. So subscribe, so you'll be notified when that drops on Sunday. So that's a great interview from Kim Artlett, the founder of Ignite Wrestling over in Florida. But John, we're here to talk about another week of NXT UK. We spoke a bit off air. It was a super hot show this week with an amazing main event that we'll get to, no doubt. But we're obviously going to get another first round match in the Heritage Cup this week. And of course, that epic main event that we alluded to last week. It was set up last week. The Bruiserweight Pete Dunne in his first match on NXT UK TV in over a year, teaming with the number one contender Ilya Dragunov to go up against the champion Walter and Imperium stablemate Alexander Wolf, of course. So that's going to be an awesome main event. So it was an awesome main event. Can't wait to talk about that. But yeah, let's talk about the opener. And it was for the first round of the Heritage Cup. The Bomber, Dave Mastiff, going up against Joseph Connors, who I said when the draw was made was one of my picks, along with A-Kid. We've seen a lot from these two on NXT UK previously, especially last year. Both of them could be considered the Nearly men of NXT UK. They've been in big matches before but have fallen short, but there was no shortfall of action in this one, John. Remember, all the rules are fought under British rounds rules, so I'm not going to go through them again. I think I've mentioned them every week so far. But the pace of this match picked up in the second round with Connors trying to find a way around the huge size difference of the Bomber. And at the end of the third round, Connors laid into Massive with a series of stiff slaps across the face of the Bomber, with Connors resorting to exactly the same tactics at the start of round 4. However, this is where the match came to an end, John, for Joseph Connors, poor Joseph Connors, as the big Bomber Dave Mastiff came back with two almighty forearm uppercuts, seemingly knocking Joseph Connors not only to the floor but knocking the poor guy out, leading to a referee stoppage in the fourth round. And John, this is quite a unique match. They've always alluded to in the rules that this could be won by referee stoppage, which it certainly was here. Not the sort of match or the sort of ending that we were expecting, but it proves, if nothing else, that if you go to battle with the Bomber and start trading blows with Big Dave Mastiff, that you're probably going to end up on the losing end. But an interesting match. We see the Bomber progress through to the next round. One of my picks gets eliminated via referee stoppage, via knockout, and he did look in a pretty poor state there. What gives your thoughts on this one, buddy?
Yeah, I enjoyed this a lot. This was my favourite match thus far of the Heritage Cup.
Really?
Yes,
Interesting.
It even outdoes the one last week's amazing match that we had. But I tell you why, because for me it just it come out of left field. I loved the ending. I thought it was a little bit more creative. The Bomber, Dave Mastiff, I'm not going to lie, I'm a bit of a fan. I've been a fan of his for a long time. I used to, at one time or another, I'd worked for some staff, and I just used to have to look after him at times before he used to go out to the ring. And he's a big dude, and you wouldn't want to mess with him. And I just love the fact that he's there at NXT UK. He's had a very interesting career, Dave Mastiff. People will also remember him on WOS, World of Sport, for a short time. And then he made the jump, or as it seemed, to NXT UK. He was involved in that tournament, the second one at the Royal Albert Hall. So, I like him. I like the fact that when he came out, John, that if you noticed, probably only I do because I'm a little bit like this, as crazy as usual. But I liked the way they shot from sort of looking upwards at him. It made him even bigger. And I felt they really put that across, because let's be fair, there's not a whole lot of different shapes and sizes in NXT UK. A lot of the guys, if you were just sort of, I don't know, a fan that wasn't sort of looking at it in a way where we don't know who's who, and you just come across this casually. I think a lot of the wrestlers can kind of come across as looking almost identical sometimes. But with Dave Mastiff, he's got a unique shape to him, and I really felt they took advantage of that in this match. And it was a great outing for him.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this opener. It was a good way to kick off the show, most definitely. But then we get a backstage, or well, not a backstage, but a video package, John, of the return in Jordan Devlin. Now in this video we see Devlin still with the NXT Cruiserweight title. Remember that he never lost the title that he won back at Worlds Collide in January, I think it was. He never lost it, and of course they announced an interim tournament to crown the interim champion, which became Santos Escobar, who's still holding the title over in the black and gold brand. But in the video package, Jordan Devlin alluded to the fact that the interim word has been deleted whenever they mention Santos Escobar, and Jordan Devlin calls himself the best self-made professional wrestler on the planet and the one real cruiserweight champion. So they've obviously trying to build a little bit of a storyline here around Devlin still being the cruiserweight champion, how they kind of have been alluding to Santos Escobar as the champion as well. So I wonder if we're going to get a Shawn Michaels versus Razor Ramon champion versus champion ladder match somewhere down the line. Who knows, but that'll be interesting to see what happens in this ongoing storyline. Because, of course, Jordan Devlin probably won't be able to go over to the States for a little while. So it'll be interesting to see how they kind of play that out. But any thoughts on what went down here?
I absolutely love that video. Really well done again. And I love the fact that they literally done it so logically. Like, we all call this out as fans and we go, oh, they've changed that. They've tweaked that conveniently on the screen. He called that out and I'm glad they went with it. Yeah. I don't know who put this together, who the brains of the outfit is here, the backstage, that said, let's show these clips, let's show what they were trying to do to disguise us, to slip, put a slippery one in without anybody, picking up and noticing what's going on. I love the fact that they kind of almost went over themselves a little bit, and it gives him a little bit of a different, it gives him more of an edge. I mean, this makes him stand out, I think, from the crowd a little bit more already than he already was, and I think this is a really good. Gives him an extra layer. He's got that almost. It's like his version of Money in the Bank, really, because he's got that to go to when hopefully things get a little bit better again in the world. But he's got that. He can sit on that. He can run with that, and he doesn't necessarily need to be in that NXT UK title picture to make himself over, which is the great thing, because when you can get 2 or 3 names going and all rising at the same time without any crossovers, you are on your way to hopefully making that big money marquee match, and that is something that I feel NXT UK has been missing. So I'm really glad about this, and it gives another rise here for Jordan Devlin.
Absolutely, a massive star on the NXT UK roster, and can't wait to see him coming out every week with the belt, proclaiming to be the real cruiserweight champion until he can eventually get back over to the States and defend his title, or to have that eventual match with Escobar. But that'll be fun. But then we get a backstage segment, John, with Oliver Carter and Ashton Smith, and it looks like a feud could be brewing between these two and Pretty Deadly, with Oliver Carter announcing that he has a match with Eddie Dennis. And we've been talking a lot about Eddie Dennis on previous episodes, and we still haven't established a connection between Eddie Dennis and Pretty Deadly, but we're sure to find out more next week, I'm sure, especially, with Oliver Carter and Ashton Smith kind of alluding to Pretty Deadly, and of course there's going to be that match next week. But what did you take away from this one, John?
Yeah, of course, Eddie Dennis, the Stephen Hawkins quota at the moment that we see a lot. But yes, what's good here as well, again, much like I just mentioned about Jordan Devlin, Eddie Dennis, slightly on a lesser level, I would say, but I kind of look at it as like, imagine a battery when you put it on charge again and it's slowly filling up. Eddie Dennis is probably down on about a 20% at the moment, but it's rising, which is good. A lot of them, they've not even started charging yet, but Eddie Dennis is on his way. Jordan Devlin, I'd say, is at a 60%, and Eddie Dennis, it's going to be a much slow burner, I'm sure. But I'm enjoying the fact that, look, he's not out to wrestle, but we're talking about him, which is a good thing. So they've done well to cross this over and interlink it into all the shows. Be great to see what kind of, if he's going to adapt his style in the ring for this sort of change in dynamic with his character. And how much more we find out who his allegiances are to, and what sort of game he's playing here. But it's good. I'm fascinated to see what happens there. So good little the moments they're picking thus far, especially in this show, have been very well thought out. There doesn't seem to be anything that's just thrown out for the sake of it. And I don't know, I was slightly disappointed in the last couple of weeks with things like that, because I did feel there were things that I was just scratching my head with, like, did we really need to see that, and was it worth it?
But the thing is with NXT UK is they do kind of build these storylines, and they certainly do seem to be building things up and keeping you thinking, keeping you intrigued in the character and the storyline, and making you want to come back for more. And although some things might not make sense one week, like I say, when the full picture is there, they probably will, all the pieces will fall into place. So really looking forward to the match involving Eddie Dennis and Oliver Carter next week. Great to see Eddie Dennis back in the ring. I think that'll be his first match back in an NXT UK ring since probably Takeover Blackpool 2 in January against Trent Seven, and I was there, and that was a hell of a match. And then we'll get a few more answers as to his connection or apparent connection with Pretty Deadly, so that will be good fun. Match number 2 then, John. Let's talk about Isla Dawn versus Piper Niven. Now, before this match started, we were taken back to the huge brawl that closed the show on last week's episode of NXT UK, with each member of the women's locker room out there kind of brawling with one another. And I didn't pick it up straight away. I didn't pick it up last week, but they replayed the bit where there was an exchange between Isla Dawn and Piper Niven leading to this match here today. So now, I've always been a huge fan of both of these two wrestlers. But I've always felt they could have done a lot more with Isla Dawn, and especially the White Witch character, John. But in this one, Piper Niven was definitely the aggressor. And this one started out as more of a scrap as they exchanged strikes with some pretty stiff kicks from Isla Dawn. Isla Dawn got a close near fall from a top rope Meteora, and then Dawn nearly got the match won. Some might say that she did win the match with like a dragon sleeper, and maybe the referee was the wrong side to catch a supposed tap out there. But Piper Niven made a great comeback with her trademark running cannibal and her Piper driver for the win, John. So this was a really good match. It kind of played on different levels. It kind of built to a bit of a crescendo, which all good wrestling matches should do. I enjoyed the aggression from both women, and honestly, I thought Isla Dawn pulled off a surprise victory with that sleeper, but it was Piper Niven who pulled off a powerful win in the end. So a good match.
Yeah, I mean, after that bloody fiasco at the end of last week's show, which I just want to erase that from my memory, what happened. I kind of felt like this was a good chance to restart a little bit. I'm still a little bit, I don't know, downhearted about what we saw last week. So it just made them look, everyone sort of on the same playing field for some reason. But it's good. I mean,
that was the purpose. It helped to set up this match.
Yeah, I mean, if there was something that come out of it, Piper Niven. Sorry. For me, she's got. When we first saw NXT UK start again, I felt like, they had plans for her. So I wasn't too surprised that she got the win here. But again, with someone like Dawn, they are I think they're still trying to work with her character. I think there's still a lot of plans there, but I think it's very much in the development stage with her at the moment, who she is. And it might take one of those videos to kind of see, a little bit more of her personality. It might take some sort of character out there stuff to see that as well, to get that across. But I'm not too disappointed with the actual match itself. Kind of good. It does create again what needs to be there, a ladder system, and Niven back in the frame slightly is not a bad shout. So it was a good match all round. I just hope that there's I hope they follow it up with a little bit of consistency next week with the women's division. But I'm kind of like intrigued to see how much or how less they're going to use the female talent and what they can do. Because again, you've only got so much time, and it's difficult where to focus on at one time or another. So I think with someone like Eliza Dawn, I'm not surprised yet, because I think her time will come, but maybe when the spotlight's on somebody.
Yeah, I hope so. She's a tremendous worker, really, really hard worker, great in the ring, and she had put in a really good shout here against Piper Niven. And they keep giving Piper Niven these wins, but it's just when it comes to the big one, Piper can't quite pull it off. But I think the women's division is definitely heading in the right direction, and one to watch and one to keep an eye on NXT UK for sure. John, we're going to take a little bit of a look. You alluded to it at the top of the podcast, a bit more about 1PW on Powered 4 TV.
This is a 45-minute Iron Man match. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the challenger.
Hold his jacket, buddy. He's really starting to get on my tits, Dale Mills. Wade, both looking for a super kick, and both men hooked their legs. That's something I've never seen before. Oh, jump in a hole, he's in trouble. Oh. New fans can see what he had for team. Spud is in. Clothesline for Magic, one for Aizu. Forearm. Will Barrett into the Bulldog, and a drop kick for Dragon to hold Sterling James Keenan and the current 1PW World Heavyweight Champion, Ulf Herman.
So, John, we mentioned at the top of the show about the latest offering from 1PW on Powered 4 TV. You were teasing us with something there. You were teasing us with a promo code. So, yes, let the cat out the bag, my friend.
I will. So, listen, great opportunity here for people that, may be a little bit standoffish about signing up, maybe not knowing what we've got. Obviously, you can see everything that we have. Even if you go on there now, like, there's nothing that we hide. You will see everything that we give and our schedule when things drop. But right here, right now, I'm going to offer a fantastic code, 50% off of the first month. 50%.
Wow.
First month. And the code you need, all in capitals, really simple, the word powered. Literally put that in the promo code selection, the word powered, for 50% off. And of course, you're going to get that 1PW show we just showed the small little trailer for. But of course, you're going to get everything else with it. That includes TNT Extreme Wrestling, Full Force Wrestling, who just recently had their 5-year anniversary, and of course their whole backlog is there. DNA Wrestling, a new one to the site in many ways, but they are definitely going places, I can assure you. After speaking to their promoter very recently as well, he's got some majorly big ideas for 2021, so you're not going to want to miss that. And of course, we've got another 13 promotions that follow on from that. The likes of Wrestling in Hinckley's on there, which is a great fun show. Something else that's on there that is exclusive to us, but again, it is for free. So again, for those people that like a freebie, go over, check it out, and it's a real hidden gem. I must mention this probably every week, but Wrestling Clash. I think there's
Pro Wrestling
12,
Clash, yeah, great.
Pro Wrestling, yeah. Big shout out to CJ Carter. A wonderful promotion, and it's a real start to finish. Like you check one of those series out on Netflix and binge watch it. You can do that with this, because there is a climax to it. Because unfortunately it's not on anymore. But they did finish up. They literally finished up on all the storylines, so it's a nice conclusion. Probably one of the only ones out there that we've got. So very good. And as John mentioned earlier, with his latest interview that's going to be coming up on Sunday with the Ignite wrestling promoter. I mean, from all the way from Florida, we've got those on there as well. So SOS Wrestling,
Ignite Wrestling, catch them out. Yeah,
interviews. Powered 4 originals, all on there. Go and check it out now, and you'll get your money's worth. 50% off.
What's the promo code again, John? Powered.
Powered. Yep, very simple. All in capitals. 50% off.
Awesome. But going back to the show, John, we see Kenny Williams in a backstage segment as he prepares for his Heritage Cup first round match against Trent Seven next week, and he's there with Amir Jordan training at the WWE UK Performance Centre.
Quite the hype.
Yeah.
Sure.
I'm surprised it didn't break out into a bit of a Rocky montage for a second. That would have been good fun. That would have been great fun. We'd taken back to what happened last week with the mysterious attacker of Flash Morgan Webster, and a repeat of what happened to Mark Andrews 9 months earlier. Now, John, we've been speculating over the last few weeks about who the mystery attacker might be, but we've got a question from Ashley Clements. He says, has your opinion changed on the mystery attacker after last week's show, after this week's show, and who do you think it could be? And he's got his suspicions that it could be the Wild Boar. But what's your inkling on this one? Because it's keeping us talking, it's keeping us guessing. Like I say, Ashley's written in asking about it. So what's your take on it?
Well, it's a good pick, no doubt about it. But I do have my shortlist now, Jonas. So. I know I said last week about the whole Fight Club scene where I, possibly did Flash Morgan Webster do it to himself. I'm not going with that now. I think there's a little bit more suspicion. If I was a detective right now for NXT UK, I'd be wondering where this person is. I know you can't see right now, but I've got the hand over the mic, and that is my culprit right here. Whoever is behind the microphone doing these interviews, they're my number one suspect right now, because it was interesting they weren't around, and obviously with all this going on, so the hand is my number one pick at the moment. It's moved away from Morgan doing it to himself. They're on my hit list right now, going forward, that's for sure. But Jonas, I'm interested to see and hear from you if you've got anybody that springs to mind, and obviously working within the WWE realm.
It's a tough one. I mean, Ashley reckons it's Wild Boar. You reckon it's the mysterious kind of interviewer's hand. I said last week that I still got an inkling that it could be Mark Andrews. I still think that this long-term storyline is going to be Mark Andrews possibly turning heel on his longtime friend and tag team partner. I don't know. That's just kind of a thought I've got in the back of my head. But we will see. Like I say, the good thing though, John, is that it's keeping us talking, it's keeping us guessing, it's keeping us intrigued, and we'll hopefully get a good payoff to this one. We bloody hope so anyway, because it's been going on for long enough. But certainly
you'll hear it
intriguing, definitely. And then we get a video package highlighting Trent Seven as he gets ready for his Heritage Cup first round match against Kenny Williams. We saw Kenny Williams earlier on doing his training a montage with his tag team partner. Trent told us that he's an old dog that can learn new tricks, John. But John, is the Heritage Cup the final opportunity for Trent Seven to get some silverware, single silverware on the big stage? Of course, he's been previous NXT tag team champion with Tyler Bates, Moustache Mountain over in the States. But what do you think to this one?
I don't think it's the final opportunity, but I don't think this is the one that he's going to win. Personally, I do see them. I think he'll get through that the quarterfinals, but I don't see him going any further than that. I think he goes out in the semis. It is a different way they could go with that storyline. The sort of old dog comes back and wins. I get where they're going, but I just don't see it myself. Personally, he could potentially be, I suppose, the face at the end, because as I've said before, right at the beginning of this, one of my wild card picks, of course, Noam Dar, is still. I just got a feeling WWE going for that villain. I think, with this whole classical, Heritage Cup and all the values it has, I just think they're going to absolutely throw some real different stance on this, with Noam Dar just having this and sort of almost, that smug look at the end of it, whatever he does with it. So, I don't know. Trent, for me, I see him getting through, but maybe that's as far as he goes. on this
Yeah,
one.
well, one of my picks is already out. Joseph Connors lost to the Bomber earlier on, and I think it was last week. A-Kid got through in that fantastic match against Flash Morgan. So he's still kind of my only pick that's still left in the tournament. So I'm going to stick with A-Kid. I can't recollect how the draw set up, but wouldn't it be interesting to have an A-Kid Noam Dar final? That would be a great match between kind of two guys on the rise.
I think they face each other.
Is that right? Okay, well that's going to be a great match.
I think so. So yeah, it put me in a little bit of a spot because those are my two picks. So one of them's going out.
Yeah.
We'll see. But at the moment, I'm putting Dar a little bit ahead of A-Kid.
But the Heritage Cup for me is getting better week on week. I know that you enjoyed this week's match better than the previous two. Last week's match was a barnstormer between Morgan Webster and A-Kid. So it is getting better, and the format does seem to be clicking with a lot of people. So we look forward.
The only gripe I have is the distance in the rounds, like when they're sitting there. Yeah, they obviously are editing. I could easily see that this week through those turns. That I would imagine, this is just my feelings, that when they shot that, they actually had a lot longer in the corners. Right. And what they've done is post-edit, they've just thought, we need to speed this up for TV. Yeah. So it's a little bit unfortunate, but I don't know what those guys do in the corners when they're there. I don't know what they're doing. But I mean, are they giving advice? I don't know. Are they just sorting their face out? I don't know.
In Rocky,
maybe they're doing their hair.
Kind of Rocky, and between each round they iron out the bruises and
that's the thing. I was going to say that this is where you could use that, whereas a normal match couldn't do it, but you could use the sort of more vocal, what am I going to do, strategy kind of thing. Yeah, I mean, they need more managers down there, quite frankly, as well. That would be an amazing spot for a change for a wrestling manager to have that, or an agent. We never see that. What do they actually do in today's wrestling world? It would have been a unique chance to have that. But yeah, a little bit of a wasted opportunity, in my opinion, and it is a bit too quick. But I was much more of a fan of this week's.
Yeah. Well, speaking of being a fan of this week's main event was. Wow, phenomenal. It was epic. I said last week it was going to be epic, and it lived up to that word. We're talking about NXT UK champion Walter, his teammate Alexander Wolf from Imperium going up against number one contender Ilya Dragunov, and the returning bruiserweight Pete Dunne in his first match in an NXT UK ring for over a year. The last time we saw or have seen the bruiserweight in the ring was when he's part of the Broserweights. That's why I was getting tongue-tied with Matt Riddle when they were NXT Tag Team Champions over on the Black and Gold brand earlier on this year. So we probably haven't seen him wrestle for a good 6 or 7 months. But I've got to say, and we've seen pictures on the internet, we've seen pictures on his Instagram, Pete Dunne looked in the best shape of his life, without a doubt. It was the bruiserweight Pete Dunne that started things off with Alexander Wolf in this one. Then Walter got tagged in, and I had flashbacks of that epic encounter between Pete Dunne and Walter from last April, TakeOver New York, WrestleMania weekend, and that was a hell of a match. And that's when Walter took the championship from Pete Dunne, of course, and it was a bit of a tease for the long-awaited rematch that we're all looking forward to between these two somewhere down the line. I'm sure we'll get it, whether it's with the gold included or not. But however, we get to see the number one contender in the ring together with Walter. Walter's dishing out all sorts of punishment, all sorts of stiff offense, and almost manhandling Dragunov before tagging out to Wolf. Dragunov suffered further beatdowns as he got caught in Imperium's corner for several minutes. We then see an incredible stiff exchange between Pete Dunne and Walter, culminating in an almighty shotgun dropkick from the ring general that sent Pete Dunne flying into that corner. Dragunov got the hot tag with Dunne and Dragunov combining very well as a team towards the end in this one, and John, then it turned into a bit of a war between all four wrestlers in the ring at the same time. There was a huge chop and a power bomb and a released German suplex from Walter, but Dragunov kicked out of every move, fought back despite everything, and after delivering a fantastic torpedo Moscow, Dragunov covered and got the surprising win, setting up that championship match in 2 weeks' time even more. Yeah, John, a great match, and it built and built and built. All four guys gave it a great effort here, and that surprising win, like I say, that sets up that championship match even more. And on last week's show we spoke about the return of Pete Dunne possibly overshadowing the efforts of Dragunov, but that win and that pin from Dragunov today certainly kind of reclaimed his shine.
Yeah, this is one of the best matches I think we've had since the relaunch, quite frankly, if not the best, I feel. I mean, star power was there for me. Great to see those four competitors all in the ring at the same time. And yeah, I mean, the time they gave this was more than enough. I mean, this got the time. You could tell that I think that we still had like a good half an hour to play with. When I was watching it on the network, like they could have gone. Obviously, I think this was only a 50-minute show, but this was epic. I mean, I tell you what, intense is an understatement. Yeah. I mean, those slaps, those punches they were giving each other. The exchange between Walter and Dragunov as well was pretty brutal. Really laying it in that European style that you'll see a lot in sort of places like Germany, quite a bit as well. And if you was there front row, unfortunately we don't have fans there at the moment, but if we did have fans there, my God, you're going to hear it up close.
Ear defenders. That would be some loud
you would have done. It was that impactful. I've got to say, if I'm doing WWE mathematics, the conclusion to what we saw here, unfortunately, does not sit well with Dragunov. No. Yeah, I just feel that look, they've had to do something here. The fact that Pete Dunne was in this match, we already said last week, we kind of called it out that was it going to overshadow a little bit about that this big match coming up on the 29th of October, and I think it going into it certainly did, because when everyone was looking at that poster, I think we just saw Pete Dunne and Walter, and wouldn't that be a fantastic match again? So I feel like WWE, NXT UK, they kind of snuck in. Well, we've got to get Dragunov something. We've got to give him some steam. This is how we do it. I'm still not totally sold that he's got a cat and else chance of winning the title. Do I think he's going to give Walter a run for his money? Absolutely. I think they're not just going to do a complete squash, obviously. But I still see only one victory in this, and that's going to be Walter. So it's not done enough to change my kind of cynical mind that we're going to get a different outcome here. I still see Walter retaining the title come the 29th. But what will be obviously a big epic match. And to your point, Jonas, as well, about Pete Dunne, I mean, he is looking incredibly like the best I've ever seen him 100%. Right now. Just amazing at the moment. And I'm kind of glad, I know you touched on that whole... what was it? The brother weight or whatever.
The broserweights, yeah.
The broserweight. Oh God. I do like both those guys individually, Matt Riddle and Pete Dunne. But when they were put together, there was something that was really getting on my nerves about it.
Didn't it?
It did.
Some of it was good though. Some of it was good, but I do know what you mean.
The segments where they kind of hijacked onto Triple H's
with
private
the Dusty
jet.
Classic trophy. That was great.
That's right. And yet the cameras just happened to be there and no one else could see but this camera guy. But yeah, I mean, I'm kind of glad that in a sense Pete Dunne is almost, although he's not in the US, it makes him a bigger star, the fact that he's on NXT UK, and then thankfully they're not just, like when Finn Balor come back to NXT for the first time, it felt like he looks still average, like he should be the big star. It took a long while to get to that point, but I feel like with Pete Dunne on NXT UK going back there, it's been the opposite. I feel like he is the absolute star marquee name, and
absolutely.
I think as a babyface, he's got everything. So I still see Pete Dunne as the guy when it comes to NXT UK, with Walter being on the opposite side with the heel. And I still see those two being the biggest draw. I still want to see another match, I'm not going to lie. So Yeah, potentially that's going to be further down the line, I hope. But unless there's going to be a huge, big shock, let me throw the question back to you, John. As the win, WWE NXT UK putting Dragunov getting the sort of victory, has it made you change your mind?
I think that they've done a good job over recent weeks. They had a promo package, a vignette with Ilya Dragunov last week. That I think reclaimed some of his shine. This match here, I did think Ilya Dragunov took a lot of punishment, probably more punishment than he probably should have, but pulled off that win at the end and did look strong and did look great. I've had an epiphany, if that's even a word,
right.
And I think that they built to Pete Dunne versus Walter Part 2 by having Pete Dunne assist Ilya Dragunov in winning the match, being the champion, so then Dragunov can then kind of be the new champion, and then you've still got this Pete Dunne-Walter feud that comes off the back of it. So I think Pete Dunne might be involved in that match somehow, some way. I don't know, but I don't want any outside interference, but it could be another kind of thread kind of to build towards that Pete Dunne-Walter rematch, and then Ilya Dragunov can go off and defend his title against other contenders. But like I say, it's interesting. And next week, when we speak on NXT UK Weekly, we'll just be 1 week away from that match, so we can talk a lot more about it. There's a lot more hype and talk about that next week. But on next week's show, you obviously got more build for that championship match between Dragunov and Walter, which will be 1 week from next week, so 2 weeks from.
Contract signing, I believe.
Is that right? Well, that's something
place.
to look forward to. You've also got Trent Seven versus Kenny Williams in the Heritage Cup first round. Feels like Kenny Williams has already had his first round match, but that was a qualifying match, of course. Oliver Carter versus Eddie Dennis. But I've got to ask you, like we do every week, is this a thumbs up or a thumbs down episode for you?
Easy this week, very easy. Thumbs up.
Yeah,
easy.
same for me. Definitely a thumbs up
not
episode.
Too difficult
Definitely a thumbs up episode, and go out and watch the entire episode. But that main event was pretty epic. But that pretty much brings us to the end of this week's NXT UK Weekly, John. A pleasure as always to speak to you. So don't forget to subscribe to the Powered 4 YouTube channel, so you can kind of get all the latest content from myself and John, and our weekly NXT UK drop, of course, NXT UK Weekly drop, and so much more, including my exclusive interview with Kim Artlip, the creator, the founder, the owner, the promoter of Ignite Wrestling over in Florida. It's a really, really fun listen. It goes for about 28 minutes, so it's not a long interview. That's going to drop on Sunday afternoon. More importantly, don't forget to get yourselves over to powered4.tv and sign up. $7.99 gets you all the content that John showed you earlier. So much more to come, so many more kind of exclusives to come, but like I say, it's dropping new content every single week, and such an exciting future.
And of course, before we take this home, it's worth pointing out you're coming up for your 2-year anniversary, Johners. Who'd think it, eh? How does it feel to be 2 years is a long time in the podcast game.
But like I said, I've got a week of celebrations coming up on the Wrestling with Johners podcast. If you go over to the Wrestling with Johners Facebook page, just go onto Facebook and search Wrestling with Johners, you'll get all the exclusive news this coming weekend. So Saturday and Sunday, information drops on all the exclusive shows and my exclusive interviews that's going to be taking place for a week's worth of celebrations on the Wrestling with Johners podcast. So thank you for that, John, and you're going to be a big part of that celebration. Of course. It's time for us to sign off. So from myself, Johners, and from my good buddy, my good pal, John Scott, we'll catch you all again next week.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Millie McKenzie! She is at least 5 sandwiches short of a picnic!